Check. Okay, guys. Okay, it is today. I believe it's Wednesday, July 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's Wednesday, July 2nd, and we're going to be doing a trade review today, trade breakdown, psychological breakdown. So before we get into it, this is the trade that I took today. This is exactly how my charts look. Y'all know I'm looking for four things. I'm looking for a runner sweep on liquidity. Today, my runner sweep on liquidity that I was using for my conviction was yesterday's low. So we got a sweep on that. We shift the internal structure once right here, twice right here. Then we shift it again 3 times right here. We got our market structure shift at this point. We broke above that after creating a fair value gap and retesting it. I got in at this break of candle. My draw on liquidity was at London's highs, of course, but that was a small profit target. So I changed my profit target to at least this buy side liquidity at the swing highs right here. That's where I took profit at, but the price did wind up going all the way to the draw on liquidity, which was the previous week's high. So this is how the trade looks, but I'm going to go into the actual charts and break it down. And then after we break down the trade, I'm going to go into the psychological side of things. So starting off the month pretty good. Let's go to our daily chart. I'm going to remove all drawings. Now, I didn't get a chance today to come and do a real pregame market. I'm not going to lie. I kind of showed up piss poor today just because I had a long night before. I was out drinking, smoking, doing shit I ain't had no business doing. So I woke up late, but I knew that price action on Monday and Tuesday was not that smooth. So I was expecting a smooth day of price action. So I really wanted to catch my day. So like I said, I didn't get a chance to do our pregame markup, but let's just go ahead and do one. So going into the chart today, I can see that creating our bias, I did have a bullish bias. I'm seeing that looking on the daily chart, we can see that we are in a extremely obvious uptrend. Why is it an uptrend? Because we have higher highs and higher lows. We got a high, we got a higher high, we got a higher high, we got a higher high, higher high, we got a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and so on. So it's showing us that we are in an uptrend. As we come right here, we can see that, let this plane go by. Like I was saying, as we come to these charts right here, one thing that I'm noticing is that we are rebalancing right here at a bullish fair value gap, and it is a strong bullish rejection wick. Even though this is a bearish candle, it's giving us a bullish rejection right here. So that's what I was noticing. I'm like, okay, that's showing me bullish signatures, right? Then I come down to my 4-hour chart. This is at Tuesday at 2, 10 o'clock. Okay, so it's at 6 o'clock. Right. So right here on our 4-hour chart, I don't know why my other indicator isn't coming up, but we can see that we're still sitting in between an imbalance on this 4-hour chart between right here and right here, right? And now price came down on this 4-hour chart and it took out all of this liquidity, right? But it's still giving us that bullish reaction that we're seeing on the 4-hour. Hence, we got this fair value gap right here and this fair value gap right here. Let me go down to the hourly chart. And this is at 9 o'clock. So, let's do our pregame market. Seeing that we were in a bullish trend, we are getting a lot of bearish momentum right here. But knowing that on our daily chart, we are having a bullish trend overall, and seeing that we're getting all of these bullish rejection wicks at this 4-hour key level, which is an imbalance bullish fair value gap, is letting me know that depending on how price reacts to this level at this next opening candle, whether or not we want to continue to seek liquidity towards the downside or towards the upside. Because if we're continuously rejecting at this level, even though I'm getting it was looking like a bearish trend, I'm understanding that the overall like the bigger picture is that we're bullish. So this is just a bullish retracement. This is my thought process as I'm going into the day making these pre-game analysis. So I'm seeing that we got London's high up here. Let me just make it purple. Right, and I'm also seeing that we got, for right now, we got London's low sitting right there. So I still do have a bullish bias, but I'm just prepared. I'm prepared to take sales, but based on what I'm seeing, how price is not closing below, like even though we are getting bearish candles on the daily, I'm not getting price closing below this fair value gap. I'm not getting any like strong bearish closures below. Right, I think this is the current candle, but if I take it back, I'm seeing that price isn't giving me like any strong bearish closures below this fair value gap. Right, I'm not seeing that on the daily. On the 4 hour, I'm not seeing any strong closures below the fair value gap either. This is at 2 o'clock. Let me get it up to high speed. I'm sorry. All right, 6 o'clock. Right, I can't go up any further than that on the 4 hour. But on the 4 hour, I'm seeing I'm not getting any strong closures below these fair value gaps, these bullish fair value gaps. So even though I am in a bullish pullback, I'm understanding that I have a bullish bias overall. So let me wait and see. And then as we can see on the 1 hour, we came and swept this liquidity, and then we continue towards the upside with our buy model. All right. So let me go down to the 15-minute chart. 9:30. Okay, yeah, this is the 9:45 candle. So that's basically my pregame analysis. That would have been how I drew up my levels if I even had gotten a chance to draw them up. Let me see. I would have put them right here too. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have put a level right here. I didn't do this morning, y'all, so I'm just doing it live. Like if I would have gotten to do my pregame analysis. Yeah, so that would have been what my 4 hour levels are. I probably wouldn't have drawn another level right here because I'm already seeing the liquidity. So we came down. Now we're like basically inversing this liquidity level. Go down to my 15-minute chart. I see London's lows are right here. I see London's highs are right here. All right, so now we can start looking for basically our criteria for entry. So I'm looking for 4 things. I'm looking for, like I said, a runner sweep on liquidity, market structure shift or breaking structure, manipulation and displacement, and a valid breaking retest of a fair value gap. So going into today, I'm noticing that we have news at 10:15. All right, so it wasn't nothing for me to be too worried about. I actually was underneath the assumption that it was news at 10 today because I looked at the wrong news, but that's on me. But anyway, we had news at 10:15, so I'm already underneath the assumption that I could get into the macro a little bit aggressively, okay? The macro session that I'm trading is from 9:45 to 10:20. So as we come right here, let me take this back a little bit. This is at 9:42. All right, at 9:42, I'm already noticing a few things that's catching my eye. That's setting up my I already have my bullish bias, but it's giving me conviction to take my buy. Right, so liquidity sweep on yesterday's low. I'm seeing that right here. Right, I'm seeing that London's low. The New York session didn't want to manipulate at that liquidity. It's really not worried about that liquidity, but I do have a clear, like, kind of evening star pattern right here. I see price swept this liquidity. Right, we got to shift towards the upside. We came back, we filled in that imbalance, and now we're shifting towards the upside. Right, so I already got my valid run, my liquidity sweep. Now the market structure shifts. My first market structure shift was going to be right here at these internal highs. Right, I'm seeing that we're starting to shift structure way before my session even started. Right, so okay, boom, we're shifting structure right here. We wanted a shifting structure again right here. Right, then we came all the way up here to these swing highs, and this is all before the macro even began. So before the macro even began, we were shifting structures all the way up here. All right. So that's also another thing that I'm noticing. So I technically got my market structure shift that I need. My breaking structure towards the upside, right here. You can see we had closed above those levels. Not a strong closure, but we closed above these levels already. So now what I'm looking at is, where is my most immediate draw on liquidity? I'm assuming that my immediate draw on liquidity is going to be at these London highs, and not only these London highs, but also the draw on the external liquidity, which would be right here at this buy side liquidity, at this swing high. So I had a bullish bias, assuming that my first take profit will be right here, or my first profit target, my first draw on liquidity will be right here, and my second one will be right here. All right, I got my liquidity sweep, I got my market structure shift towards the upside. Not quite, but as we get into the macro, let's see what we have. All right, so this is at 942. I'm seeing that at my hourly key level, at my liquidity resistance that's now turning back into support. I'm getting a bullish reaction right here at 942. So 945 basically begins. I'm seeing that, okay, we got a break and retest at this key level. We already shifted towards the upside. Now price is giving me bullish displacement right here, right? Bullish displacement. Let's see what happens as we keep going. Do we get a bullish fair value gap? I believe on the 2-minute chart, because this is where I was watching it, I believe on the 2-minute chart I get some type of bullish fair value gap, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, I got the trade recorded live too, so I kind of be in the flow state. It's really hard to like replicate it. Yeah, so all of this right here is a bullish fair value gap from right here. I just wanted to make sure. That's a bullish fair value gap, but I think one came up with my other indicator that I really like. So let me see. Right, okay, so this was an imbalance right here. Even if well, yeah, it was an imbalance, 2-minute bullish fair value gap. Price came back down, tapped into that at 957. Now we broke outside of this bullish fair value gap with a whole lot of momentum, right? It's not like, and we're still above the consequent encroachment of that fair value gap as well. You know, okay, from right here to right here, I had to use a 2-minute fair value gap because that's what was more the more clear bullish fair value gap for me to read. But even on the 3-minute chart, we can still see that we had a 3-minute fair value gap available from right here to right here. It just was a little bit smaller, but price wound up coming back down into that fair value gap right before that 10 o'clock, right? Closing above the consequent encroachment. We never got to close the consequent encroachment, right? Price came, still didn't close below it. A lot of bullish momentum coming out of it. So now I got my market structure shift. I got my manipulation or displacement, my displacement right here. I got my valid break and retest of a bullish fair value gap. I'm ready to put risk on. All my criteria is met. Stops below the bullish fair value gap with my most immediate draw on liquidity. Of course on London highs, but that RR is terrible. So now I'm aiming for a 1 and 2 RR. And I'm going to put my take profit right here at those swing highs. It's not quite a 1 and 2, but I did shorten my stop loss really tight. I had the 25 instead of 30, and it made it a good 1 and 2 pip stop loss. But the more appropriate trade, one thing about trading, you're not going to be perfect because it's live conditions and you got to make decisions on the fly. So you're not a robot, so it's not going to be 100% perfect. But this would have been a more ideal setup. All right, so all my criteria is met. I know we got the 10 o'clock opening candle coming out. As soon as the 10 o'clock candle came out, it came out with a lot of bullish momentum. So I'm underneath the assumption that our draw on liquidity is going to be up here in our previous week high. this is where I'm assuming price is going to go. This is where I want to get out of the trade. And from 10 o'clock basically to 10:24, that trade wound up working out. So I know that was a mouthful, but really go back and just watch the trade and see trade breakdown and try to really make sense of it. All right, this was my setup for today, and I feel like it was a beautiful setup. Now I want to get into the more psychological side of things for me today. But this was a trade breakdown. I hope it really made sense. This was my key level. We broke above that key level, created a fair value gap, didn't close below the consequent encroachment of that fair value gap, got momentum right after the new hourly candle opening. And if we look at this on the hourly chart, or the 4-hour chart, I should say, one thing I want to take notice of is that we have a crazy morning star pattern with an engulfing that was showing, right? So once we got above this level, I knew that was a good entry point, just looking at it from a 4-hour standpoint, because I knew that the draw on liquidity would be right here. But anyway, I feel like I'm a little rambling a little bit, but that was my trade breakdown for today. Now I want to get into the more psychological side of this. Now, that's what I really want to chop about. So where am I in time? Okay, I'm at 15 minutes. Beautiful. That was a trade breakdown for today. I hope it makes sense. Now let's get to the psychological side. My battery for my camera is exhausted, so I don't have that. But I want to have a quick psychological talk with myself. Before we do that, actually, I've been consistent with my performance for today. So let's talk about my actual trading report. Let's talk about my trading report. Let's be for real. My trading report for today, I didn't get a chance to do any pre-market analysis or game plan. I didn't get a chance to get a thorough one. I literally showed up to the charts at like maybe 9:30ish. Not gonna lie, I showed up at like 9:30 and just got in. I seen my setup and I just attacked. Do I recommend showing up to the market like that? Hell no. But I've been doing this a minute, so I'm kind of confident in my ability. I'm not saying that I should keep showing up like that. I didn't get a chance to do it. I did log in all my data for today on my Excel spreadsheets, and I want to look at that. This is how I go into my trades, how I journal them, how I break them down. I traded M and Q. I know we had orange news at 10:15. My bias was bullish. My winning setup was a buy. I got in at 10, got out at 10:48. I know my trade duration was like 48 minutes. Before I got into my trade, I took notice that there wasn't any price action at London's lows or London's highs. So that's something that I took note of. I took note that we were above yesterday's lows. My support level that I used to get in the trade, or that I used to make my overall conviction for my trade idea, was yesterday's low liquidity support. And what I mean by that is basically we got support right here from this liquidity seat. So that setup, that was the liquidity zone or the liquidity pool for my overall whole trade idea. So I took note of that. My setup that I used was a yesterday low liquidity support with a 3-minute play action break and retest. Play action is basically price. We came all the way down here. We got our play action right here at this break of candle. So I took note of, and we got our fair value gap entry. You could have used an aggressive fair value gap entry, but I used a break of candle entry. I made sure I noted that down. So that's that right here. And all my basically confluences that I've mentioned. Profit target, I already talked about my draw on liquidity being the previous week high above. My stop loss was below my 3-minute fair value gap. I had a 30 pip stop loss. Let me not put 90. I'm tripping. 90 point take profit, even though I did get out at 60. We did have a pro trend buy. We had a bullish bias and with the long winning, so that's good. And I came over here, highlighted the trade, and I also spoke on just a little bit of psychology, what I could have did better. I could have held my trade a little bit longer today, but I could have gotten a more aggressive entry, which I just spoken about at the top of that bullish fair value gap, which was basically right here. So I could have gotten my entry right here at like 22,700, but I waited on a break of candle. So that's basically what I was speaking about right there. But I waited on a breaking candle entry, and I also could have held my trade all the way to my 90.13 take profit. But I'm working on my greed, so I exited at the most immediate swing high, working on stacking small, consistent wins. All right, so cool. That's on my Excel sheet. I still journaled on my regular docs too. Did I stick to my game plan? I didn't really wake up early enough to make one. I came to the market unprepared. My M button isn't working, so it's kind of ghetto. All right. So just key thought processes or ideas I had today. I have very strong conviction with my bullish bias, and I was very confident with my draw on liquidity for today. My rules was 3 bullets, so 3 trades, $500 max loss, no over trading. Followed all of my trading rules today. Which setup did I use? My yesterday's low liquidity support with a 3-minute fair value gap and play action breaking retest, breaking candle entry, basically. All right. What was my RR multiple for today? It was 1 and 2. I secured 60 points. How many trades? I placed 1 trade scaling in and out at different profit targets. And did I exceed my daily loss limit? No. So all of those are green. I did this early before I got on camera. What is something that I could have done better today? Like I said, the number one thing that I could have done better today, and let me just basically speak on this. The number one thing that I could have done better today was that I could have gotten to the charts way earlier. I could have went to bed way earlier, and I could have made better decisions before. Let me keep this up. All right, I could have made way better decisions the night before coming into the trading day, because it would have made me a little bit sharper. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for a minute, so I'm pretty fluid when it comes to where price wants to go and reading price and understanding why, but that doesn't give me an excuse to bullshit and not respect the game. But I will say this just to venture off on a psychological lecture real quick, and I'm gonna make this full screen because I know I'm probably gonna use this as a clip. I came home, I got to sleep at maybe like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I basically slept from 4 to 8. Before I went to bed last night, I got faded. I mean faded at super high, right? And I was off like maybe 2 or 3 shots of Reposado. Got 4 hours of sleep, woke up, no pregame market, no analysis, placed my trade, and won my trade like within a matter of being up in only an hour and showing up to the market for like 30 minutes. Placed my trade and still won. Am I suggesting that this is what you do? Hell no. Fuck no. That's like terrible advice. But what I will say is this. It doesn't matter if you get up, you do your cold plunge, you hit the gym, you read your book, like whatever your morning routine is, you can do all of that and still not approach the market with the right mindset. Hence, therefore, you won't have winning results, or you won't have just desirable results. Because even though you're doing your routine and you're trying to trick yourself into like, okay, I'm getting in that mode, it's like your mindset when you approach the market is still, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to win. One thing I will say, approaching the market with only 4 hours of sleep, still kind of halfway faded and fucked up, I really just did not give a fuck about whether I won money or not. My whole thing was just like, just get up, make a quick decision, accept the risk, and live with it, because I'm too thrown to even care about the result. And when I traded with that mindset of just trying to be disciplined instead of trying to be perfect, it's like I just had a very, very easy day. I usually go through a whole morning routine, hitting the pool, I'll read my book, read the Bible, do this, do that, pray, and still go blow on the count, versus just getting up and showing up today with just sheer focus. I want to trade. So, yeah, that's just something I want to say. Mindset is everything when approaching the market. You could have a full course gourmet breakfast or a McDonald's McGriddle, and the nigga eating the McGriddle may still have a better trading day than the guy with the whole gourmet breakfast, because his mindset is just better when coming to the market. So just having a better mindset. But to get back to the main gist, to get back to the main thing. That's the main thing I feel like I could have done better today. Went to bed early and I stayed out all night the previous night, drinking and smoking. I don't want to get too comfortable with that. I don't want to abuse the grace of God and just my skill. I don't want to do that. I don't want to stack up odds against me. All right. Another thing that I could have done today was I just feel like I need to get better at being more hands off when I place my trade. Like after I place buy or sell, I want to just be able to take my hands off the mouse until I get a notification that, okay, if I got a 60-point TP, prices hit my 30 points, okay, now I can touch the mouse and move my stop loss to break even if I feel like that's appropriate. But outside of that, I want to get better at just not touching my mouse, period, and being more hands off, not micromanaging my trade so much. All right. So why did we enter this trade? I just did a whole breakdown on that basically, but I entered the trade because I had a strong bullish bias with a strong conviction that the draw on liquidity for our session was London's high and the previous week high, right? Like I said, draw on liquidity right here, draw on liquidity right here, draw on liquidity right here, all right? That's why I entered that trade. I saw strong bullish displacement off of a bullish fair value gap at the opening of a new 10 o'clock hourly candle. Right, strong displacement off a bullish fair value gap. This was the 10 o'clock candle right here. So the opening of a new hourly candle, 10 o'clock. I saw strong bullish displacement. That's what I mean when I say that. Price had already shifted internal structure several times, showing higher highs and higher lows, illustrating a bullish trend. Okay, and what I mean by that is right here, shifted internal structure, shifted internal structure, shifted internal structure, shifted internal structure. Right now we're getting to our external structures at these swing highs, and we're shifting. So that's what I mean. That's why I entered the trade. Did we let our trade run all the way to our expected profit target? I exited at the most immediate swing high, like I said right here. I didn't want to hold all the way to these 90 points for this 1 and 3. I didn't want to hold all the way to that TP because I'm working on stacking small wins. I'm on the Tradeify straight to funded account, and I gotta have a consistency rule of 20% anyway. So I'm really just trying to gain my confidence back and not really be too stressed out. I feel like holding all the way to 1 and 3 is kind of would stress me out, and it's easy for me to just get in and get out, take my quick $1,000 and just stack those. So it's logical, right? Why did we get out of the trade early? That's basically what I just said. I'm working on securing small wins and being consistent with stacking them up. I'm setting TPs that take profits that provide me with security and not dopamine rushes, right? Not at this current stage in my journey. I'm at the stage where I just want peace, consistency, and stability. And if I can get that just by taking 55 to 60 point take profits and being out of the market quick 20, 30 minutes, then that's what I'm going to do. All right. Did we scale in and out of the trade? Why did it make sense? Yeah, I initially got in with 15 contracts right here. I believe once we got to about right here at the 30-point level, I started to want to scale out. I think maybe once we got right here, I scaled out 10 contracts and wound up scaling out of the whole thing after I wound up seeing $1,000 in profit. So yeah, I did scale in and out of the trade. Did fear hinder us today? No, I don't want to say fear hindered anything because I'm being intentional about getting my confidence back and stacking small wins. Now, if I wasn't being intentional about getting my confidence back, trying to eliminate my greed and stacking small wins, then I would have said yes, because instead of exiting at my 1 and 2 at the 60 points, I could hold to my 1 to 3, and I could have taken my profit target at the liquidity from the previous week's high. But I don't want to say that I'm afraid of losing the profits that I had received. I think it's more that I'm afraid of losing myself into the market. And I think the fact that I'm aware of that is healthy because I'm conscious and I'm aware of like my triggers and what'll make me go on tilt. So after I already get $1,000 at my profit target, mentally I'll start kind of tilting a little bit. So I just want to secure that and move on with the rest of my day. So I wouldn't say fear held me back from any success. I'm just really self-aware about what I need to improve on in my trading journey. And instead of being greedy, I'm just working on being more consistent. All right. What is something that I did well on today, an area that I executed better on today than in my previous trading sessions, and how did I get better as a trader today despite the outcome of my trades? I think I did a great job at not second guessing myself. I wound up sitting in like almost a $700 drawdown, and I didn't just exit the trade quick and jump back in. No, I sat in my trade. I feel like I kind of got in a little bit early at like I didn't wait on a break-in retest of a fair value gap, so I kind of did get in my trade early, but I had a good idea of what price wanted to do. So when I was sitting in the red, I didn't crash out. I didn't second guess myself. I kept my composure and drawdown. I did a good job at sticking to my trading idea, getting in one and done. All right, based on my trading today, what are some skills or emotions that I feel like I need to improve, grasp, or get a better understanding to improve my trading? I feel like I had a great performance today. Mine is like I didn't overtrade, but I did squeeze out like 2 extra small little trades with 1 micro contract at the end of my session. And I'm not proud of that because I feel like I was chasing the $1,000 profit. I had originally closed with like $990. So I squeezed the extra $10 out. But aside from that, I feel like I was in a more logical, present, like strategic mindset today, instead of an emotional, scarce, and like desperate one. I realized like I got a straight to funded account now. Even though I do have a profit target of 9,000, like I got the account. So whenever I get it, I get it. I'm not trying to rush it and like blow my account again. All right. Are there any revisions or adjustments to my trading rules that I want to implement? No. Did I take valid trades today? Yes. Did I lose? Did I take a valid loss? I didn't lose. And did I adhere to things correctly as far as performance and psychology? Yes. So that basically was my trading report, me logging in my data and my trade breakdown. I'm going to post a fast forwarded clip of my trade that I took today. But this is me holding myself accountable, just really locking back in. The first 6 months of the year, right? The first 6 months of this trading year, I have done nothing but bullshit, fuck up, lose money, and just really not be locked in. I'm going into these next 6 months, I deserve better. I want more. I want a community. I know what I want. So I'm not rushing the profits no more. I'm just really just locking in and sticking to the game. So today was a great trading session, and I really, really learned that just because you doing all that extra stuff, cold plunges, reading, but like just because you doing all that, reading the books, like that don't mean that you're gonna come to the market and have a good trading day. It's about your mindset, like really, really wanting to do better, really, really wanting to work on what's bothering you. Like just because I seen my trade went a certain amount of points does not mean that I had to catch that whole move. I can get out with my 60 and be content and be grateful. That's my personal journey. That's personally what I'm working on. So when I see people on Instagram making 5,000 on a trade, I don't need to be upset about that because I'm on my journey. I'm working on what makes me feel content. You know what I'm saying? Really focusing on, like, the name of the game is stacking up profit, not ego boost. Feel me? I could have held all the way to 90, but would that have served my mental better? Nah. So it's like, fuck it. I'm gonna do what's serving me well. But it was a great trading day today. I'm just ready to get in stride and get everything going. So I hope y'all took something from this. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next trade.